Thank you for volunteering for the OpenElections project. We're very happy to have you on board. This screencast is a step-by-step walkthrough of the process of finding and entering metadata from a State Board of Elections website into the OpenElections admin. It assumes that you already have a state to work on and that you are successfully logged into our system. Before you start, you will want to call your State Board of Elections to confirm that the results archives they have online are the best source for you to look at. Our system creates one single entry for everything happening on one day for seats with terms starting at the same time. For an election that happens on a single day, you will want to identify 4 critical things about that election. In what formats can you access the data, for example, Excel, CSV, or PDF? What types of elections happened on this day? What offices were part of this election? And how was voter participation broken down? We will go into this entry form in more detail in a little while. Each state stores, organizes, and presents results data a little differently on their site. I'm going to show you where you can find the data in 3 different state sites to give you a sense of how this can vary. First, let's go to California. If you Google California State Board of Elections, you will end up here. You can also find any State Board of Elections page on the FEC website. To find the section on their site that you will need, Google FEC Election Directory to get to this page, and then navigate through to your adopted state. This is also where you find contact details for Board of Election staff. There is a lot of information on this page, but what you want is the Elections section and the Prior Elections link. When you click through here, you come to a page that lists out regular elections and specials separately. This is not always the case. California has a lot of specials, but the same rule holds true here as for any state. You will just want to include all races happening on the same day in the same record in our system. So we'll look at a statewide election. Elections are broken out by type and date. If we go to the first election, you will see here that California includes a lot of additional information around each election. But what you want is the results. So you can go straight to the results PDF here to see what the content actually looks like. So we have our first and second questions answered already. This race is a general election, and the format of the results is PDF. Now to the third and fourth questions. What offices were part of this election, and how were the results broken down? If you scan through this rather large document, you will see that there is a ton of very granular information here. But for the metadata gathering purposes, you can actually see everything that you need to from the table of contents. Here you can see in the statement of the vote section all the offices covered and how they are broken down. Very straightforward. If you go through the PDF in detail, you can also verify that this summary is indeed accurate. However a site is providing the data, it's always a good idea to look at the data yourself as best you can to be sure of what is there and how it is organized. If you are entering all the races in California, you will now have a very straightforward roadmap for how to enter them. You can simply navigate to this detailed statement of the vote PDF for each race and get the metadata you need from the table of contents. For the specials for California, you will want to do the same thing, but consolidate your metadata into any existing records for a specific day. Now let's look at another state, Rhode Island. Right on the home page, you can see a section in the main nav for elections, and then a subsection for previous election results. This single page is quite clear and gives you an overview of all the national race types, as well as some of the format information. For the first 2 years, it looks like there are some Excel spreadsheets. If we go to the first election, here, we can see that there are Democratic and Republican candidates for the primary listed on the main body of the page. And then the results break down to the right. Also, below this list and below the fold, there is a link to a page with the data files themselves. Here we can see that in addition to the Excel files we saw on the contents page, results are available as JSON files and as RSS feeds. If we go to the next race, which is a statewide primary, we can see that it also has Excel files for results. And then when we click through to its page, we can see that all of the seats are listed on this page. This page also has the results breakdown on the right, like the previous one we looked at, and it has a link to the data files for all the results. I'm looking at a couple of races here to get a feel for how consistently the results are organized. For both of these races, we have answers to all 4 questions. The results formats are XLS, HTML, the formatting for this main page itself, and JSON and RSS. We can see what types of elections these were from the main contents page. We can see what seats are part of each election from the main page for that election. And we can see how the results are broken down. Both California and Rhode Island look fairly straightforward in terms of identifying the metadata. I'm going to show you one more state where this process is less straightforward. Let's look at Alabama. The most likely place to find election results looks to be here in the main nav, Elections, and then Election Information. But once you get to the main page for election information, what you find here is much less self-evident than our last example. If you click through to the 2012 page, it's not actually clear right away from the introductory paragraph if what you are looking at are resources compiled in advance of each election or archives of results. And the first several elections only include certification records of nominees. Further down the page, however, here this general election on November 6, 2012, there are versions of amended election results. This one includes what looks like the entire process of versioning of nominee certification and election results. And the most recent certified results are on top. If you click through on the top link here, you can see a PDF of scanned paper election results. From the columns on the left here, you can see that these results are broken down by county. So here you have answers to all 4 of your questions for this one election. The results are in PDF format. This is a general election. The seats are president, with vice president as well, and also Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And the results are broken down by county. There are several other elections from 2012 that do not have election results archived on this page at all. So for Alabama especially, it will be critical to contact the State Board of Elections before entering into this process of capturing the metadata.